Ladies and gentlemen, your next fight takes place in the KFIT Bantamweight division on the schedule for 3 rounds. Introducing your first fighter, fighting out of the blue corner, representing KFIT Dojo, presenting Natalie Molloy. Introducing her opponent, fighting out of the red corner, representing Hybrid MMA, presenting Mel McHaffey.
Great point. The Vanilla Gorilla, Mr. Aaron Wallace, is your man in the middle for this bout.
That gorilla is right.
Toss your gloves and we are underway.
Straight at it.
Interestingly though, it's McHaffey who's initiating the clinch. And again, it's where so much of especially amateur mixed martial arts bouts takes place.
Yeah, and I think that's because there's a lack of ability to manage the range. So when you have two kind of relatively inexperienced fighters striking, they fall into their shots, and if both fighters fall into their shots, they end up in that clinch. And then, you know, whenever you're inexperienced and you're in a clinch, you just tend to stay in that position instead of having the mind to kind of like step back, throw some strikes or change levels. But
yeah, it takes a long time to gain that composure,
really
you know.
does.
Like, it took me well into my professional career to be like really happy to like break off clinch positions and go back to striking. Like, it takes time, you know.
There's some pros I see on the scene that they still actually struggle with that, you know, when there's opportunity to come off, change the levels, throw some strikes, but they just kind of stay at the clinch.
Speaking of strikes, nice knees being landed here by Molloy.
Yeah, lovely takedown.
May try and get a hold of the neck here.
McHaffey's on the neck indeed.
But she's under the chin if she can get the hands connected. McHaffey manages to pop the head out. And again, we are back to that draining 50-50 position against the cage.
Yeah, McHaffey's sort of throwing some nice knees here.
You do get the feeling that if the fight plays out like this, it's going to take one moment, maybe in a round, that sways it in favor of one of our fighters.
Yeah, some strikes and damage is always going to score the best here. Like.
Yeah. I mean, McHaffey, if you look at her grip, she's very like kind of top heavy. She's gripping around the neck of Molloy. What McHaffey really needs to be doing is starting to focus on coming down more to the hips, because that's where you can kind of get the takedowns from the hips or around the knees, or coming to the body lock. So there we are. Down on the leg, looking for a high crotch. Molloy wised it.
You do see little pockets of space here where fighters should be landing the strikes, and they're choosing to stand off, perhaps a little bit of naivety, or perhaps not that cage craft that we've been talking about.
Yeah, like that instinct takes time. You know, when you're in these positions, like these are fighters who've only got a couple of fights under the belt. It takes time to get that composure when your body's in that kind of fight or flight mode. The instinct is to grab, you know. So when you're eating these knees, you're eating big shots, your instinct is going to be to grab. So whenever they're in these clinch positions here, it's hard for them to find their way out.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Paul. Like you do, and you're in like fight, and it's like your first couple of fights, and you know the instinct is there to grab, be safe, and kind of hold on to the person. And over time, the more experience you get, the kind of less you do that. Good back and forth though. Another one that's going to be a hard round to score.
Look, you need to get off that fence. He actually went to the fence himself and said, "Look, push off it, get out, land some strikes." So let's see if the hybrid fighter does that in this round.
That's some good corner advice.
Both them head kicks were very close.
Lovely knees again.
And this is where you would be calling for that separation.
Well, I mean, it depends. If you want to separate, for a purpose to
good
strike.
Good shot on the break there.
Or you want to maintain the clinch and try and go for a takedown, but it's more of a stall position that we're seeing here. Kind of halfway in between both.
It's kind of you're protecting yourself, but you're also not doing anything particularly proactive that's going to stand out.
Yeah, let's see if Molloy listens to the advice here. She's right in front of her corner here at hybrid. Let's see if she can get off this fence.
McHaffey landing some nice little short shots with the shin. Oh. Again, there's that pocket of space for the knees.
Yeah, Molloy needs to get her right underhook here and start turning off the fence. She's only playing the wizard on her left arm. She needs to get her right underhook and turn off the fence here, but she's only playing on this one side.
She's like, sorry to interrupt you there, Paul, go ahead.
No, all good.
Oh, I didn't think you were ever going to finish that. Yeah, Molloy is playing a very defensive game here, you know. Her hips are parallel to the cage. She's got an overhook. She's looking for wrist control. As Paul said, at this point, you really need to be getting off the cage, fighting for that, digging for that underhook. Oh.
And like we said, it is one of the most draining positions in martial arts. But that's huge. A takedown at this stage when
lovely takedown. Oh, there's
big shots from Molloy.
Oh,
big.
This is damaging shots here.
And these shots are landing on the point of the ear, which means they are legal.
She's picking her shots really well. She might be on the neck here.
And we've seen in the previous fight just how important it is to get the hooks in when you're working for the rear naked choke. But all credit to McHaffey, gets right back up.
Yeah, good on her.
Ooh, almost with the hip toss.
It's a very dangerous throw to go for in mixed martial arts, that hip toss, because if you don't execute it 100% effectively and cleanly, you're going to give your back up to your opponent.
Exactly. Yeah. You commit your hips and you commit your back.
Commit your hips and your back. The debut album from Joe McColgan.
Just to avoid any confusion, I've been calling the wrong fighter the wrong name here, because on our card, it's normally the right-hand name is the person on the right-hand side of the cage. But for this fight, they've changed it about.
They've done that purely to confuse and annoy.
Molloy red shorts, McHaffey blue shorts.
Correct.
See, he's still confused.
No, not the blue tape, the attire she's wearing, Paul.
Oh my God. Now this is
getting more
confusing.
Just as well you're a good fighter, Paul.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first and last time Paul Hughes has joined us. Right back into the clinch against the cage here. Nice little pot shot knees being landed here by Molloy. And again, just so difficult to try and score.
Yeah, very difficult. But for me, I think the money's on Molloy here. I think she's just being a bit more aggressive than McHaffey. McHaffey, as I referenced earlier, she's playing more of a defensive game against the cage here. It's like kind of trying to stall things a bit, not creating much offense.
Yeah, she needs to get that right underhook and turn out here. And I'm sure Arnold DeSantos in her corner is shouting for that. I can see him gesturing towards it.
I'm trying to throw out some knees, but again, it's a hard position to kind of get any power out of those.
She's trying to dig in for the underhook, but not quite able to establish it. More so double overs at the minute, which aren't necessarily what she needs to be doing. And I guess if you're Molloy and you've been the one that's been putting the pressure on, you don't at this stage of the fight, perhaps you're thinking you don't need to do anything that could end up taking the fight away from you.
Yeah, exactly. It's about, you're making risk decisions in here at all times, and if you've kind of been able to kind of nullify your opponent for the whole time, like all 3 rounds, why would you do anything different in the last minute of the fight? Now, the more experience you get, the more you realize that there's more value in finishing fights or putting on like explosive performances. But at this early stage, you want to get 3 rounds under your belt. You want to get as much cage time as you can, as much like experience in all these different positions. So I mean, for me, like I think Molloy's like she's using the right tactics at the right time of her career here.
Closing stanzas of the 3rd and final round here at Cage Conflict 10 in a packed Devenish complex.
Yep, it is absolutely rammed here. Like, I actually don't think I've seen a quiet Devenish when Cage Conflict has been here before.
No, right from the get-go. And that's a hallmark of just how popular this promotion is. Right from the get-go, you're talking the first preliminary fight, there was a crowd in here.
Oh man, it was literally like going crazy in the first fight.
Yeah, as you talked about earlier, the matchmaking is always phenomenal. So when you know you're watching the first fight of the evening, you know it's going to be a good one, you know, so people are coming early for these.
Approaching the final 10 seconds of the third round. It'll be interesting to see how our cage side judges interpret this one, gentlemen.
Yeah, I think the first round was pretty close, but then I think Molloy's run away with it here.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, we go to your judges' scorecards. All 3 judges have scored the bout.